Like, the biggest event in anime has just dropped, guys.
The biggest piece of anime.
The biggest piece of anime.
It's definitely the anime of all time.
Definitely in the history of anime. Bigger than Dragon Ball. Bigger than One Piece. Bigger than the Bible too.
Do you want to reiterate for people who perhaps don't know what the thumbnail is, in case they've been living under a rock?
Yeah, so Attack on Titan just finished airing this week. So we thought we'd do a topical episode because we've all seen Attack on Titan, right? Right? Surely.
I finished it.
I finished it.
Did you actually?
Yeah, I finished it.
Oh, okay.
Why are you looking at him?
Yeah,
You're like,
why?
Shit, I thought you were on my side.
No, I watched it.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
Why?
Okay.
God, you had one job, Joey.
We gotta start off with this take.
You had one job.
I just don't care about Attack on Titan anymore.
Okay.
That's just like, okay, it might be because, like...
How far did you get?
I got up to the, oh god, the naming convention. The final season part 1?
Okay.
Wait, is that the correct term? I don't even know what the fuck
Yeah,
the title of it
Doesn't
is.
the final season have 3 parts?
The final season is 3
And then
parts.
there's, in the third part, there's 2 parts.
Oh, yeah, okay. So that means I got up to
Yeah.
part 2. I
Final
haven't
season
watched
part 2.
I haven't watched the third season part 1 or 2.
Just the 2-hour-long.
The
plus.
2-hour-long
Okay,
ones,
okay.
yeah. I got up to there.
So you basically just got everything up to the ending bit.
Yeah.
So you've only got like 2.5 hours of Attack on Titan left to go, and
Yeah.
you don't have any interest in finishing it?
I'll get to it eventually, I guess, but I'm not in a rush.
All right. So I'm going to say, like, normally we have like a spoiler warning or something, but normally we try to avoid spoilers, but I'm pretty sure we can't discuss all of this without spoiling.
Are we discussing it? I haven't even seen it.
Yeah, if we do spoilers, people are going to skip right in the start of the episode. So we'll save a little bit of the spoilers for later.
Yeah.
I
He's
guess.
thinking of the metagame.
Yeah, because YouTube's gonna hate this episode if we do that.
Yeah. Don't worry, we'll give you guys a warning when we get
when
to
we
that.
actually get to the ending.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I feel like I watched it. I did watch the ending just out of like commitment. I'm like, well, I'm this far in. I should just finish.
Well,
it.
I mean, what? It was a 10-year run, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
I've
it's
been
been
watching
10
it
years.
since it came out. So
Yeah.
Damn,
2013.
2013.
it really was it really is like an end of an era, because I think Attack on Titan really kind of grew up with the medium. It was kind of like that first big push of like, oh, anime is like gone from this little niche thing to something that can kind of like meet mainstream culture.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like it kind of, to me, Attack on Titan signified that show from anime growing from something that was a bit more niche to something that now is even like arguably mainstream.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
Yeah, I think it's very mainstream, and even people who don't like anime are like, oh, I know Attack on Titan.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember because I think I got into anime in like 2012, 2011.
Yeah.
And then Attack on Titan was the one that was really big.
Yeah.
And before that, I actually didn't watch subs. I was like, no, I'm a dub only guy. I don't want to read shit. But Attack on Titan didn't have a dub for a very long time, and I was like, well, shit, I gotta watch.
And
the
then
show.
when
Yeah.
the dub came out, it was an amazing dub.
I think the dub is actually pretty good. I think the dub is
The dub, I've watched both the sub and the dub. And the dub was actually, for the most part, pretty damn good.
I mean, when I think of the dub, I think of the Armin scream.
yeah. Well, that was kind of iconic.
Which is
for being
iconic.
interesting.
I don't remember this one.
You don't remember
It
it?
was like
No.
a big meme.
There was a huge meme of the dub Armin scream of like, I think it was like episode 2 or 3 of season 1.
Right.
When like the first big, like, I guess,
I remember this, yeah.
twist happens.
Right.
With Eren. And Armin does this scream, and in the Japanese one, it's very powerful. And then the dub came out, and it got memed to absolute
Alright,
shit.
pull it up. Pull it up.
Pull it up.
Okay, I
Pull it up.
gotta hear this.
I'm surprised you haven't seen this.
Just Armin scream dub.
Just Armin screen dub.
Armin scream dub.
I mean, like, while we're pulling this up, I mean, I've watched all of the dub
yeah.
except for the final season of the
Wait,
dub.
really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa, you watched a lot of it. All right,
I've
hit it.
rewatched Attack on Titan quite a few times.
All
Well,
right.
it's is it Matthew Mercer who plays Levi?
I can't remember.
I mean, it makes
Well,
sense.
I
Yeah.
feel like it is. I feel like
It works if it's not him.
Right, go to the end. Go to the end. Just the scream.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah, right there.
Sorry. Okay.
So it's this part. That scream was the meme.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It sounds like R2D2.
It's very Crash Bandicoot. A little bit of nature. Yeah,
I don't think it was necessarily bad. It was just like
It's very funny out of context.
yeah.
I'm also biased. I think because J. Michael Tatum is he's Irwin. I think he crushes it now.
No, I think Irwin.
He crushed it in everything.
I think Irwin was actually my favorite performance from the dub.
really
Irwin completely. I didn't know it was J. Michael Tatum.
Yeah,
Makes a
right.
lot of sense. I think my biggest problem with the dub, where I would recommend the sub over the dub, was unfortunately Bryce Papenbrook's portrayal of Eren. Because I think he does really good in season 1, but there are some kind of like moments.
Matures a lot as the series goes on.
Yeah. There were some moments where I think he's like a really talented voice actor, but I think he got casted at a time where he was getting casted as
He's
every.
He was Kirito.
Yeah, he was Kirito as like every
okay.
edgy kind of like protagonist.
Yeah, he did get a
And so I think, you know, he does really, really good in other roles. And there was like a certain few moments where I just didn't think he hit the same like emotional beats as other people could have done if they had been casted as Eren. I think the scene that really sold it for me was Eren's breakdown in the end of season 2, where I remember watching it and I was just like, ooh, this is not hitting that same emotional beat that the original voice actor did. Who's the original voice actor again? Kajiyuki did. I mean, Kajiyuki's goated anyway.
Kajiyuki's a god, though.
Kajiyuki's a god.
Yeah.
But it was something that I didn't think matched up to the original, and it was also a bit weird seeing. I saw a little bit of the beginning of season 4, or like the final season, and he still had a very similar voice. And I heard he's improved that for like later parts of the final season, but it just felt very off. Because so I would actually genuinely, I've watched both, and I would genuinely recommend the sub over the dub. This isn't like a stain against the dub
is bad.
Not to say the dub was bad.
Sure.
Yeah, but then if for some reason you ever say like, oh, I prefer the dub, people should be like, you can't appreciate the Japanese. It's like,
You're not weeb enough.
What are you talking about? Like, hey, I'm fluent in this language, and I think it sounds good in this language sometimes. Like, happy to admit when it sounds.
It's personal
good,
preference
you know?
at the end of the day. There's no right or wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Irwin. I didn't know it was J. Michael Tatum, but I actually preferred just slightly, because both are like such goated performances. But holy shit, hearing his speech in English, I was like, God, this hit different, man. I'm ready to go to war right now.
Yeah, Attack on Titan. Otherwise, I said this earlier, and this is why you wanted to talk about it, because you got annoyed by my comments. I felt like, although I wanted to finish this journey, because I felt like it kind of been my entire adult life was Attack on Titan. I was like, well, I should watch it. The final season part 2, I was kind of bored.
I can't believe. I can't. I like. Genuinely.
Can we all agree that the nomenclature? I've been wanting to use that word for so long. Of the nomenclature of the Attack on Titan series.
What does that mean?
Oh, well, God. Wow.
Go on, intellectual.
Well,
go on,
it
please
means
explain
like
it.
the groups, the naming, like how you name a certain group of things. And
Nomen as in name.
yeah.
Okay.
And the way they've named the series, fucking awful. Absolutely the worst naming job in history of shows.
I think that was my problem with especially the final season, is that the naming convention is just so confusing.
I actually think it's taken away from the series.
Yeah, I think it has as well, to be honest. And I think that's why I just kind of lost interest, because I'm like, they're not fucking taking this seriously.
This is not a take I'm hearing right now. This
is no bearing on the show. Can I just say this in general? It is absolutely fucking confusing to try and keep track on certain places to watch this, where you're like, wait, which fucking one am I on again? Why do they all have different
You know it's
cover
bad
art?
when like my Photoshop files are named better. You know, like it's
the Xbox Series One X looks like a better naming system as opposed to this shit.
This is my message to Fate fans that say I overcomplicate this shit. If these guys can't follow along with naming conventions in Attack on Titan,
this is the exact same reason.
Yeah, it
this
is
the
dumb.
exact
It is
same
dumb.
reason why a lot of people struggle to get into Fate as well, because they look at a title and they go, I don't know where this is canonically speaking, so I'm not even going to bother starting to do it.
Yeah, I mean, this
And
is
Attack on Titan just fumbled the bag at the end, in my opinion, to the point where like I can't take this shit seriously anymore. These naming conventions are garbage.
okay, that has no fucking bearing
No,
on the
it has
show.
no
though.
bearing on the show. But personally, I was like,
That shit
what?
is annoying as fuck.
It's annoying as fuck.
It has nothing to do with like the
This
actual
is like
show.
the bit. I thought you were coming out with the
listen,
big guns.
Listen,
It's
okay,
like-
I will, but we have to recognize that they fucked up with naming this show for some goddamn reason.
You can be
and I
the
don't know
biggest
why.
Attack on Titan fan, and every Attack on Titan fan will agree the naming convention is ass.
Okay, it's not
horrendous.
It's not optimized, but let's talk to like Kingdom Hearts fans for like a second here, and just
Another reason,
like
why people don't take that shit seriously, because they look at these naming conventions and they same with fucking Monogatari. Any series that has the most like non-secular and sequential naming system, people from the outside look at it and go, what the fuck is this? How am I supposed to get into this?
I will say, seeing that naming system slowly being revealed and rolled out, it did
Yeah.
make me kind of like lose confidence a bit in the production. 'Cause I'm like, how are you guys fumbling this so badly? Like, there is no goddamn reason why there should be final season part 1, part 2, part 3. That is insane. Like
Yeah.
what actually happened for this fuck? Because there has to be a fuck
Look
up.
up the word final in the
Yeah,
dictionary.
there
didn't
has
do
to
that.
have been a fuck up in
Okay.
a way that makes me that made me nervous initially when it was coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what is happening behind the
well,
scenes?
you know, like I'm gonna defend it for now.
Go for it.
Because I believe that this is all based on my pure feeling and speculation and kind of like the vibe I get.
Yeah.
Now being having talked to a lot of anime studios and stuff like that, I'm sure same with you, Joey.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm sure they had a rough schedule to begin with when
Yeah.
like Mappa got signed on, and then they were like, wait a minute, we actually want to take time to
Yeah,
make this fucking slap. So the reason I think this is because you look at the difference in quality from Attack on Titan final season part 1 to everything that came after it. Like there is such a huge jump in animation quality. It's like not even
Oh
comparable.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And I think that came about because Mappa were like, let's slow things down and let's actually take time to make the finale something that is worthy of the lineage of Attack on Titan. And you know what? If we get a bit of name fuckery, we can meme about it, all right? But like, considering the final product we got, I think it was more than fucking worth the wait. You know,
See, I would have been happy to wait even longer, as long as we all just got it in one cleanly wrapped packaging. Like, I feel like the fact that they released these final seasons in so many different parts, just goes to show that, like, well, okay, but you could have, instead of just releasing it, and splitting it up into 15 different fucking parts and confusing everybody, why couldn't you have just pushed everything back and just given it to us all in one go? We're okay with waiting for you guys to, work your magic with the animation and the production and everything.
Yeah.
That's fine. We've already been waiting 7-8 years at this point.
Yeah.
Right, for it to finish. So it's like, why couldn't they have just pushed that all back to the point where, okay, here we go. Here is the final season, all in one nicely neat, wrapped up bag.
I agree.
And here you go.
We also have recognized in the past that, for example, Netflix kind of killed all hype of JoJo.
Yeah.
The way that they released it. So, the way you release a series does matter.
Oh, it's very
as
important.
much as like it shouldn't have any bearing on the show.
Yeah.
A large part about consuming media is the surrounding hype. Are you into that? Are you like following along with people? Like that matters a lot to just consuming media in general.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I think that it did kind of detract a little bit from the series in a slight way. Nothing meaningful, of course, but it did add an extra step where I felt like online generally people just cared less about the show.
I definitely agree. I don't know what the creative decision between doing the last finale in like 2 mega hour, an hour and a half long episodes. There's enough material there for a season. There's maybe not like a full core 12 episode, but definitely like a strong 10-9 episode season.
I am really shocked that the final 2 parts weren't just a movie. Genuinely, I kind of
Did I not call this?
You said that
years ago?
Yeah, I think we all had a feeling that they might try it.
I was like, they're
Yeah.
going to end it with like movie length episodes.
and especially with
And I was right.
them being essentially one pretty long movie. I'm
Yeah.
kind of surprised they didn't try and release it theatrically.
Yeah. You'd think they'd look at,
I would be
Jujutsu
hyped to watch
Kaisen
that.
or like Demon Slayer and take that as a hint, right?
It was like the worst parts of both worlds. You didn't
Yeah.
get the hype of releasing it as like a full 9-episode season for like the
Yeah.
hype to build up, but you also didn't get the hype of having it be a theatrical release, which
Yeah.
And then you cut it in half.
yeah, I
Yeah.
like
And separate it over the course of a year.
after watching it, this could definitely, with like with the quality they had, this could have definitely been a movie.
Yeah.
You know, and there are some like
I
moments
would have
there.
loved to watch this in the
Yeah.
theater.
Oh,
Totally.
it would have been incredible. This is the one time when I'm like, yeah, end it with the movie.
Yeah.
You clearly want to end it off with the bang. If you don't want to split up into like episodics, like a final third season, so just put it as a movie. But for some reason, they released it as 2 long episodes that just dropped at random intervals in the year, and I'm like, that you are doing everything you can to like kill
Yeah,
the hype
right?
of
Yeah,
this finale.
and that's exactly what it did
Yeah.
for me. It killed the hype for me. Where I got to the point where I'm just like, I'll get to it eventually, I guess, but I'm not like frothing at the mouth to finish it.
And
at the same time,
do you
everybody
want to
else-
finish it?
I do. Well, yeah, because obviously, I actually do, because like, you know, again, like as Connor said, like, you know, we've all been sticking through with this series for like 10 years, right? And you know, it's a great fucking show. I love the show, but like, it's just again, the release order and the way that they fumbled the bag on that. Personally speaking, it just kind of lost the hype for me, and I'm just like, I mean, yeah, I'll get to it eventually, I guess, but like, I'm not like gagging to like finish it. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely I felt like in a little bit of the same boat since the final season part 2.
Just saying it out loud is just so tough.
That's where I started to kind of check out a little bit mentally.
Yeah.
I think I was like losing my I was like,
Are
okay,
you serious?
Yeah, I kind of
The
really
final
felt
season part 2.
I genuinely felt like it was one of the like more boring sections of the show for me. Because
Oh my god!
Talkie talk, King. Talkie talk. Don't mind him. Talkie talk.
I'm dying here.
yeah, you can take it. You know, there's a very big reveal at one point during the show. To do with Aaron. Well, there's many big reveals. With Aaron.
Let's think about some of like the small things that
Okay.
happened in the second season. Wait, what was the opening called again? The rumbling. That's like a tiny event that didn't have any impact on the major
I don't know
story
if I'm
or
crazy.
anything.
I'm
Banger
not-
song.
Yeah, the song was the best part of that. I'll be real. The rumbling when that started happening, I felt like it was genuinely just boring.
Wait. There is so much we gotta unpack here. Why? Boring?
Yeah, I kind of liked there was the reveal before this where it was revealed that Aaron had an ability that we didn't know about that had a bearing on the entire story, and I thought that was really cool. And then they just started going on and on about the backstory about where this all came from.
Yeah.
And it just started to feel like, I was like, and I know it's not, but it started feeling like super bloated for me in a way that I then also didn't care about the rumbling because it felt like, oh, I know how this is going to end. Like this feels like it's going in a very clear direction, and to me it was like, okay, Attack on Titan was always at its best when you didn't know where it was going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had no idea what was happening next.
See,
And I felt like that once the rumbling started, it was kind of set into this motion where I thought it was just going to go a direction, and it absolutely just did go I mean, it's a very safe direction is the direction it went in.
I was so checked out watching that season. I don't even remember that.
And it felt like
Like you were talking about it.
What
and
am I dealing
You were
with here?
talking about it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that did happen. I just wasn't paying attention.
okay, there was a few episodes in that season where I felt like they were just fucking wasting time.
I think the complete fucking opposite.
Really?
Yeah.
Because when I saw everyone was very annoyed, because one thing I did notice, I somehow managed to go spoiler free, so I didn't know. anything about it.
I
somehow
I
managed.
went into spoiler 3 as well.
However, I did know that people did not like the ending.
Yeah.
And therefore, I thought the ending was going to be something kind of weird or kind of unusual. But to me, I felt like the ending was about as safe as you could have gone.
Yeah, to me, the ending, I can see why people had issues with it, because I certainly thought that, okay, I think I really liked the ending. I thought it was very messy in the way it was like.
Well, that's getting me excited to watch it.
It was messy, but it was literally the safest outcome. It was like if you were telling a
Right.
story and you wanted to wrap this up, how do you do it in the way that you think will probably be the most conclusive?
Yeah.
In like
and will satisfy the most people.
Yeah, and will kind of be like a nice little bow on the story.
Right.
So that's what I felt. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I agree with it was convoluted and kind of bloated. I think it was messy.
Yeah, it was messy. We'll get to the ending like eventually,
Okay,
but because I can't let go of this like final season part 2 yet.
Okay. Sure.
Because I thought that I'm trying to think of if there was like a weak point of it, and I would say the part that disinterested me the most is probably like the lore parts. How I described the lore parts of Attack on Titan with the Titans and stuff like that, it kind of felt like, okay, you're watching a horror movie and then there's like this mystery monster, right?
Then they reveal it.
And then they reveal the mechanics of the monster, and you're like, the charm's kind of gone. You know, it's kind of like you have to do it because hey, you've built this mystery up, and hey, you need some kind of explanation. But there will never be kind of like that kind of. So you can't look at Titans with the same kind of fear or mystique or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know why they couldn't have just gone the Ito Junji route and just never explained the mechanics and just left it a mystery.
I mean, so much of the plot.
They were building up to explaining it.
Yeah. They were building up to explaining it. And that was definitely like my least, let's say, the part of Attack on Titan that I was interested in the least.
Pretty boring and bloated.
But I still thought it was like pretty interesting in terms of what that meant for, each character and how each character deals with these revelations. The fucking rumbling, and especially one of my favorite parts of Final Season Part 2 wasn't so much the event of the rumbling itself. It's how you have all these characters. You've built up all these, in my mind, interesting characters, and you just get to see how everyone in their own way deals with it and tries to cope with it, I thought that I thought you this is what happens when you just take great characters and put them in an interesting situation. One of my favorite scenes is just when a bunch of these characters are just sitting around a fire pit, no action, just pure dialogue. And I was just like, they are just talking and discussing what happened and discussing all the journeys they took to get there. And it's just, this is like compelling television when when you have characters that you've built up this much that all you need to do is just put them in a room together and you're like, all right, magic's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed that segment. It was when during the final season part 2, they get to this docking village. And that's when I was like, what the fuck? This is so boring.
Docking village?
Well, they get to the village with the port. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. I love that scene.
What do you mean? It's like 7 episodes. Where they're like at this place. It's so long. I don't know how many episodes it is.
You mean the one where they're stealing the boat?
Yeah, but they're around that area for quite a while, and I was like, hurry the fuck up.
Oh yeah, that did happen. I was like, what are you guys talking about?
And I'm just like, I'm trying not to get too spoilery.
Yeah.
But there's just this, and to me, Attack on Titan, I think the best season of Attack on Titan was season 3.
Yeah, season 3 part 2.
I agree with that.
What?
Season 3 part 2.
Which one is that?
It was 2 parts, remember?
Oh, right. I was like, what? I kind
the ending of season 3.
I think of all of that as 3. I don't know.
No, it's 2 parts, remember?
Yeah, it's 2 parts.
Right.
Yeah.
What was
there was
the
like
gap
a year in
them?
between.
Yeah, season 3 part 2, I suppose. Yeah, is what I'm referring to is my favorite.
Yeah.
But also part 1 of season 3 was also really, really good.
Oh yeah, it's
part 3. Sorry, season 3, part 1 and 2. I really liked the most, and that's when it was, I think, at its best for me. And then we had that big reveal, with Eren, and then it slowly started to like taper off for me in terms of interesting, because I felt like then they started
it turned into a different show.
Yeah, it was more. It was more about why the fuck this thing is giving Titan powers, and then suddenly I felt like, wow, this is the weakest part of the show yet. And so I watched season 2 of the show.
I think the weakest part was like season 1. I think season 1, you kind of get like...
I haven't rewatched it, so I think if I went back and rewatched it, I might think it's way worse.
Yeah,
I feel like I just need to binge all the seasons now. At this
I
point,
do need to
from the
go
beginning.
back and binge it and come back to this conversation.
This is like...
This is like 10 years of scatterbrain memories.
Yeah.
I'm trying to critique a show.
Yeah.
When I was fucking 17 and I watched it.
The only thing I remember is the dub screen from Environment.
Yeah, I mean, because I have like rewatched the show multiple times. Maybe not like the entire...
valid than mine.
Yeah.
Maybe not like the entirety like recently, but like before, like the last time I rewatched the show was before the final season came out. I was like, I need to refresh because it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Totally worth it for me. I actually think I might have enjoyed it more during my rewatch because now that you have the context of all the reveals and everything that was kind of like part of the mystery of like Eren's basement and stuff like that, you realize, holy shit, this was all planned from the start.
Yeah, you can see all the little hints now. Right?
Yeah. There are so many hints from season one
good storytelling.
that out of context, I just like completely blanked on because I'm like, this scene makes no sense. Why is the scene here? And then you watch it, you're like, oh shit, this is like final season stuff. What the fuck?
He knew from the beginning.
Yeah. It's insane rewatching all of Attack on Titan.
Yeah, I do want to get back at some point. And rewatch it.
But you know, part of the thing reason I think season one was the weakest is mostly just because you are kind of like setting up the world and the characters, and it did like Eren was at that time a much more boring character.
Oh god, he's so boring.
Well, was just a child.
I mean, he had
fuck children, bro.
Yeah, fuck children. You know? I mean, the point is, you had to establish him as like an angry, angsty teenager who just was like fucking prone to violence.
Yeah,
and
it was the initial hook.
It was like and like at the time, I was just like, oh, he's just like every other edgy shonen protagonist out there. And then you see his growth and evolution, and that's where the payoff comes in. But still, season one, it was more exciting because of the action scenes rather than the kind of like me being engrossed by all the character writing and everything
the character writing,
everyone used to say that it was Game of Thrones of anime, because Game of Thrones at the time was really big.
Wait, who the fuck was saying that?
I'm telling you,
everyone was saying that. Everyone was saying that.
Everyone was like, it's like Game of Thrones for anime. Everyone's dying. It's like,
it's like people die equals Game of Thrones.
Well, because that was what dominated the sphere of conversation in like early 2010s.
It's
it was
like
all Game of Thrones.
Gaming with difficulty. It's the Dark Souls. It's the Dark Souls of hentai.
It's Game of Thrones with less tits.
You can't not come. Character writing.
Okay, so that's interesting you say that you think season one was the weakest, because I think the general consensus when everyone is comparing all the seasons to one another, I think the major consensus is a lot of people say season two was the weakest.
Season two was when I actually started getting invested in it.
Right.
Season two was when I kind of realized that, these characters are actual like characters with depth and their own goals, and it was a series that was willing to put focus on other people rather than what I thought they were.
Well, I mean, there was also just a lot less action in season two as well. So I think that's what like kind of pushed a lot of people back.
Yeah, season two was set up, but even so, just seeing like the focus on Ymir and Historia, who were a big part of season two, and I remember like watching season two, I was like, okay, when are they gonna get back to like Levi and the main characters,
cool characters,
the big three? Who are these two little lovers who we didn't see anything about in like the first season?
I think also because there was a 4-year wait.
Yeah,
I think, right?
Yeah, 4-year wait,
which was like. And everyone was fucking waiting for the second season. And then that's what came out. And I think people were like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And then I think it really hit me at the end when I was like, shit, I actually really care about these two people. Maybe even more so than the main characters. And I was like, oh, okay, this I'm actually getting invested, like properly invested in someone. Because before, when you have a character death in season one, it was just like, we've known this person for like one episode. Like, like, it's the Levi squad. Oh, wait, no. Okay.
It's just Levi.
Okay, it's just Levi. And I'm like, I guess that's sad, you know, but it was obviously like very impactful, mostly I think because of like the direction and the music and everything. But how much I actually cared about anyone who got off in season one was just like, it was all like shock factor.
Yeah.
Whereas season two actually started giving a shit about characters, that had absolutely no screen time in season one. And then like the absolute fucking balls of this man to do one of the biggest reveals just in like a piece of like side dialogue. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
The betrayal scene.
Yes.
Really
and then, you were expecting this kind of like big reveal to be like, I am this person.
It is I.
It was me all along.
Yeah, but the time I was just like, by the way, it's me.
And in Attack on Titan, it was just like a piece of dialogue that was going on in the background. And you had to like literally double take to be like, wait, did he just... And I was like, this is like the most genius way to do like a big plot reveal like I've ever seen, because it like completely subverted expectations. So like even season 2 was like the slower season, had so many like amazing
that was one of the best moments in the show.
I
think it was a really good highlight.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, I remember because there was a time when I think it was just season 2 that had come out, and a lot of people were comparing it to season 1 and being like, and you know, obviously not knowing where the story was going, so they looked at season 2, which, you know, had a lot more new characters that you had to get yourself, you know, invested into, and less action. So people were immediately like, season 2, not as great as season 1.
Yeah.
But again, like, I think it's until after season 3 came out that people realized that it was just a setup for season 3. And then everyone, I think that's when the appreciation for season 2 slowly started to come back. But there's still a lot of people who say season 2 was their least favorite.
I can see why.
And generally, overall, it was, but maybe the final season part 2 is my least favorite. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. I can't really think of a season I really like didn't like. You know, there are like weaker seasons, but overall, the final season as a whole, I think the latter half, I think there was like still like super like interesting things happening. Like to me, like the rumbling and all like the reaction around that. I think season 4 was just really compelling character drama. Before that, I was still like really, really invested in the action scenes as well. Like, you know, seeing like humans versus titans. Season 4, it was just like, war is war. War never changes and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, I've seen this kind of thing before. The action scenes, which were equally as hype, I was actually less interested in the action scenes than just seeing characters.
Well, yeah, because it turned into a human drama.
Yeah. It's just seeing characters like talk to each other.
Yeah, for sure.
Some of my favorite scenes in season 4 were just dialogue scenes, like Eren like talking to Reiner in the basement. That was just like, you could just cut the tension with a knife in that scene, and I was like, this is just compelling television, and I fucking love it. So I don't think that there was a bad season of Attack on Titan. I think there were weaker parts, but I think overall, Attack on Titan, to me, with this ending, which I was very, very scared of because I had heard of the opinions of the manga readers, but now that I've watched it, I don't think it was the greatest ending in the world, but I think it did the job. And I think most importantly, it kind of like cemented that Attack on Titan to me is kind of like a modern classic, you know?
I think, they just stick the landing, right? I think you've already got such a crazy story and a backstory that is really already way complicated.
Yeah.
And I feel like you just do a simple ending, right? Don't do anything crazy. I think that's what they went for.
Yeah. What did you think of the ending?
Yeah, I thought it was fine. It was exactly what I thought was going to happen. Like the moment with the 4th season, part 1, or the fuck started, it was just clear that it was going there.
Yeah.
Like there's like, you know, I couldn't see it, the fact that there could have been another alternative ending, but I don't think they would have gone for it.
Like, they didn't try to challenge it.
No. It felt very obvious what was going to happen.
Because is it true that the ending to the anime is slightly different?
It is slightly different. So I had to look into this because I was like, I need to know why the fuck manga readers were so pissed off.
Right.
Some of it completely fucking stupid and invalid. Right. Like it got to the point,
like the complaints or the ending.
The complaints.
Oh, right.
Like from what I understand, and manga readers, you can tell me if I'm wrong because I didn't experience.
Oh, they will.
Okay, there are some things where I'm like, there was one line. Can I say this line?
Sure.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, then.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
There was a line that was changed from the manga to the anime, and it was a line where Armin thanked Eren for becoming a mass murderer.
What is he, a true crime YouTuber? Why?
That was based content, Eren. You did a good job. Kind of high.
Get a 20-part series out of this. Thanks.
Yo, your KD ratio through the roof.
And I'm like, ooh, that's a spicy line right there.
So they changed that in the anime.
Yeah, so they changed that in the anime to just Armin telling Eren, Eren that, hey, see you in hell, motherfucker.
Right.
And, you know, it's, I kind of understood.
Makes more sense.
Yeah, I kind of understood, like, the intention of that line, which was just Armin kind of like trying to, even though he knows Eren's a fucking bad guy and did all this bad shit, that he tried to take some of that guilt along with him because he still sees him as a friend.
Right.
The line just came out.
It just doesn't translate.
I mean, there's like...
I wonder if it was a translation thing as well.
I'm not sure.
I don't know what the original line was.
I need to see it in Japanese.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But I think some of it was just that there was just so much kind of like anticipation for the ending, right?
Right.
That I don't think any amount of hype that manga readers had, the expectations, was going to be met by the manga ending at all.
Right.
Because I think, luckily, manga readers took the L for us because I think pretty much all of our expectations were tempered a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we saw what the manga readers, how the manga readers
we have the
react.
exact line. Armin says, "Thank you for turning yourself into a mass murderer for our sake."
Oh, it's even worse than what I said.
For our sake.
Oh, and Isayama expresses regret towards this line of dialogue, admitting the intent of the words didn't come across as he hoped.
Yeah.
That makes
It is
sense.
crazy how you just fuck up one line of dialogue and it's like, well, everyone thinks your story sucks.
Yeah.
But I imagine if he regrets it, then I imagine he probably told the anime staff or what they had a
Yeah, it's like,
conversation.
please change
Yeah.
He's like, hey, I meant to do something different here.
Yeah. I mean, like, I still have my qualms with the ending. I think there are, like, there was a lot that was presented to us within this ending, and I think a big problem was that the mystery of season 4. So every like season had the mystery that they were building up towards, and the mystery for season 4 was what the fuck was Eren doing? Like this entire time, right? We really did not know what he was thinking, and then he kind of like dumped 20 million different things like to us in about like 5 minutes or something, and I'm like, I get it. I think there's
his motivation felt very like, I just want a genocide.
Yeah,
He just
And
wanted
it's
to
like,
watch
why?
the
It's like,
Wolber.
I just think it's a good idea. And it's like, well,
yeah. It's
well, why?
at the beginning. It was like it kind of felt like, I just want a genocide. Oh no, wait, I wanted you guys to do this. Oh no, wait, I needed to enact this timeline because my mind is fucked up.
Yeah.
There was just a lot.
Zero planning.
It almost felt like every part of Attack on Titan had been planned up until like this point.
Yeah.
Because before that, it just felt like everything had been so meticulously planned, and then you got to this point, and it just kind of felt like, let's just throw a bunch of things at the wall, and maybe something is going to like stick with everything. But like to me, it kind of felt confusing. Where if you just had like a few extra scenes just to tell me what was going through Eren's mind, I think that would have like cleared things up perfectly.
I had this thought, and I don't know if it's like blasphemous to say this. When they were kind of doing a bunch of the ending stuff on the final season, I remember sitting there thinking like, man, I feel like if this was Hunter x Hunter, like his way of explaining things, I'd be so into this. It's just a different way.
Well, Togashi built different.
The way that Togashi explains stupidly, like the way that he'll tell me something complicated that I know is dumb, but he'll just make it seem so cool.
You can say Great Island. It's all right.
There's just so many things so many of his stories that he presents them in a way where I'm like, I know this is dumb, but man, it just seems so cool in this world. And I'm so into it. And I felt like with the Ymir backstory shit, I felt like, man, if Togashi was writing this, I feel like I'd be so into it. But I was watching it and I was like, man, I just don't give a fuck about the fucking backstory of this stupid girl. I genuinely just didn't care. That was easily the worst part of the show for me.
Yeah. So kind of same here.
And that was the only if there's this, it was a banger of a show. It was really the only part that really started to make me lose interest was that.
Yeah, like
So what you're saying is you would have liked it if Togashi had written it.
If he'd have just subbed in, let him like sub in, and then I'm wondering like, wait, why is there a narrator in Attack on Titan? But I'm down. It'd be so hype if Eren's mental was narrated about why he wanted to do war crimes instead.
And then Eren wanted to kill everyone.
But something changed in Eren in this millisecond.
Eren was
He had
like,
seen something that Ymir had possessed in him.
Eren was like, don't worry, guys. I'll become a mass murderer for your sakes. I got this. I'll shoulder the sins on myself.
And then the narrator would tell me why. And I'd be like, that's so cool.
If Togashi
He's
wrote
so
that line,
real for
if
this.
Togashi wrote that line,
He's
everyone
so
would be like, goated.
It would there. It would.
Are you saying you wanted things even more explained to you, or?
Well, no, I don't know, because I watched this
We
video.
just want it to be explained better.
I did have to
the only way.
there was a few times where I had to go back and watch half of the episode again in part 2 to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like to fully comprehend what's happening.
Yeah. And I feel like it's a good and bad thing. It's like cool that you have a show that is so much depth to it that I almost have to pause and have a think. But also very annoying that I watched this first, and maybe I'm just dumb, which is probably very reasonable assumption here to make. But when I'm watching it, I'm just like, man, I'm just confused. Like,
Yeah,
what?
I think that's the problem when you add so many like different elements, because I think the advantage the earlier season had was like the simplicity.
Yeah.
And with the final season, it was already complex enough with the political stuff. That was already great, and that was what I was interested in. And then you add the Titan mechanics with time traveling and inheriting wills and all this bullshit. And like, if you like think about it deeply, you kind of are just like, it starts to just get more confusing as every
and
kind
less
of story.
compelling, I think.
Yeah. To me, that was never why I liked Attack on Titan. That was never the main focus. I know some people love go into lore diving, but like for me, one of the things that bothered me please explain Attack on Titan lore experts if I'm misunderstanding something. But in season 4, where every descendant of the royal had like special was the only one that could take on the powers of the special founding titan, whatever, right? And then it's explained that every Eldian, or is that the right word?
Eldians,
yeah. Every Eldian comes from the same person, Ymir.
Yeah. So
how do you distinguish between who's royal and who's not when they all share the same bloodline? Like I couldn't understand. What made the difference between a royal and just a normal person that shared blood from the same creator. I was just like,
I can already see the manga readers in the comments
There's
being like,
probably
it's in the inner linings of the manga. You had to have read the manga.
It got to the point where I was like, man, I'll just wait for the YouTube lore deep dive explainer. Like, I'll just wait, because like I feel like I'm not prepared for this story
where's the
anymore.
Did You Know anime video for the Attack on Titan lore?
and then when you get to that point where you start like breaking down the mechanics, that's when I start to get less interested, because
I need a 1 hour YouTube video to explain it. I'm like, I kind of checked out.
Because it just like kind of like detracts from what the story's trying to tell either. Because and it feels like it almost had to be written this way because he had to explain something about it, But that was, to me, that was never the main strengths of Attack on Titan as a story. And now with this ending, I was completely satisfied. I think it could have been executed a little bit cleaner. Most of it had to do with lore stuff. Had to do with like lore stuff, I'm not gonna lie. But in terms of like all the character resolutions, I was happy with the ending we got. I know
they stuck the landing, could you say?
I'd say they landed on 2 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
They might have like stumbled along the way, but they didn't fall over.
But they finish it off. They finished off the boat.
I just realized whenever they're in that goddamn fucking sand realm with the tree, that's when I was like, fuck, this episode's gonna be boring. whenever they go to this, like I don't know, type in Attack on Titan Ymir world or something.
The path.
Yeah. This is fucking. Let me show you. Yeah, this. Whenever they fucking go here, I'm like, God, this episode's gonna be boring.
But cool background though.
Actually, like it's funny because the final season, kind of like the actual final episode that we got, that was probably my least favorite part of Attack on Titan.
The action was kind of boring.
It looked gorgeous.
It looked gorgeous, but I felt like I know what's going to happen here. Come on.
Yeah, no.
Come on.
Do you know what it felt like? It felt like you know when you watch a Marvel movie, and like some Marvel movies have like really interesting
We're
concepts.
in the third act fight.
Yeah,
like,
and you're like, and then you get to the third act fight. You're like, all right, this big CGI
Wrap it up,
battle.
guys,
All right, wrap it up. Let's wrap
We
it
know
up.
they're gonna win.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh no, Doctor Strange is going to lose. Oh, guys,
Yeah.
guys.
Ain't no way.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was kind of like my feel. Like compared to that, I will take this because this actually has like some interesting character moments in there, like some of the path stuff. But like the final battle, I was like, yeah, it looks great. It looks funny. Nothing's really interesting is happening with the characters, so it's just action scene. So it's just pretty fireworks, which is the way you should, conclude a show or whatever. Sure. But I was waiting for how the ending was meant to happen, which was great.
Okay, well, next up is Attack on Titan. We're just gonna
3 Part 2.
We're just gonna lump it all together.
Yeah, we'll lump it all together.
But they do have the right season as the highest rated season. I agree that this was the high point.
That was the one where I started checking out, as I said in the episode.
What, this one?
No, you checked that out as a final. Yeah.
No, this is the one with the fucking with the monkey fight, right?
Yeah, the monkey.
That was so fucking good.
Of course, you say that. Yo, monkey fight peak,
dude,
yo.
To be fair, that fight was
I
sick
think
as fuck.
that entire like sequence of episodes was probably some of the most compelling pieces of anime I've ever watched.
I think it's some of the most compelling piece of television I've ever watched.
True.
Yeah.
It was such an amazing.
I
series.
think if you go on the IMDb top rated TV episodes of all time, like I think like 3 or 4 of them are all Attack on Titan episodes from this very season.
No, I believe it because there was like 4
TV
weeks.
episodes, not
TV episodes.
There was 4 weeks like back to back where like I think this is the only thing anyone fucking cared about.
Right.
Yeah, and
it was
this is
really impressive.
This is the season that's
best rated episodes.
this is the season
Yeah,
that
there you go.
very
Yeah,
much. Okay, let's see the top rated TV episodes of all time. Number 1, Breaking Bad.
I
of course.
almost like IMDb's lists more than my anime list. They
There you
feel
go,
a bit
Attack
more-
on Titan.
Attack on Titan. Yeah, both of them from that season in the top 5.
These 2 episodes are fucking amazing.
Go down. What else is there?
Yeah.
Attack on Titan.
There's Attack on Titan.
Attack on Titan.
There's quite a lot of
Attack on
Attack on
Titan.
Titan in there. Yeah.
Code Geass.
I do get chills when I think of that whole fight that happened. It was just amazing.
And just Erwin's speech and everything like that.
Oh my
But-
god, the Owen speech is so
Yeah.
good.
Oh my god, the Vinland Saga episode. Well, I guess we'll get into that later because I'm sure it's
It'll be up
Yes.
there.
Such
That
a
is
good
9.9.
episode. Yeah, I'm glad that
so many Attack on Titan episodes on here.
I'm glad that I'm really glad that anime is getting representation in IMDb.
Maybe
Maybe a bit too much.
Maybe a little too much.
Maybe a little too much.
I don't think all of this anime is better than every single other TV episode of all time.
I will say I'm surprised
Okay, this is a
how
bit-
many anime
okay,
episodes
this is a
are
little
up
much
there.
now. All right,
Yeah.
okay, a little much.
All right.
All right, let's go back to my anime list.
Does it deserve the number 5 spot? on
I
Titan?
think that Attack on Titan does deserve to be up in the top 10 anime
This
of all
season in
time.
particular?
Even with
even
all
without
my,
the season.
even with all my comments prior on the previous episode, I still think I'd be okay with it up there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to say that it's overrated. Yeah, I think that Attack on Titan
Say
is,
nothing, you won't get killed.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything.
I think Attack on Titan is actually perfectly rated. It's like it's one of those few shows that I feel is really fucking good and actually got the popularity it deserved.
Yeah.
It's very rare that
No one
a
gets
show,
angry at the fact that Attack on Titan is as popular as it was.
It'll
you know?
also like never be in your like subconscious. It'll
Yeah.
never be a show you're like, oh yeah, Attack on. You're like, oh yeah,
Yeah, like, oh yeah, obviously, duh.
You know,
Yeah.
you're always. It's impossible to get out of your mind as like as a series.
Yeah.
And I think, even though I said that I kind of fell off a little bit towards the end, I still think the journey was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And it was still very deserving of that spot.
Yeah,
I think.
it's one of those few shows that hit the perfect storm of being appealing enough to the masses and being something like Breaking Bad, where it's the complete package. Things that, like, one thing I always respect is when a story seems to be planned from the get-go, which is which just feels so fucking rare in anime, where you kind of have a cool idea and it has like cool ideas for like one season, and then they kind of like go into something else. Attack on Titan felt like such a natural progression, even though the final season is so different from the first season, but it never felt out of place. And that to me is fucking incredible. And it seemed like you go back to watch the beginning seasons and so much was foreshadowed about where this was going to go.
I do want to rewatch it.
Yeah,
I should.
Yeah, it's one of those shows where I think, holy shit, it's so worth rewatching because from
I feel like I just need to binge the whole thing.
Yeah,
from the beginning. Yeah,
right from episode 1, right from season 1, you're like, holy shit, they're like foreshadowing season 4, and we didn't even know what was coming.
Yeah.
I think Attack on Titan is perfectly rated.
Yeah.
I think it should be higher than number 5 even. Yeah, and we had the ending of Attack on Titan in this era as well. And I think like to me, Attack on Titan season 4 at least, or final season, whatever part. I feel like that felt like the first time anime was like that was kind of like an event in anime. Like the final season of Breaking Bad. That was like the first time where if you were an anime fan, you needed to have watched this just to keep up with the conversation.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, agreed. God damn. All right, well, should we go into the final era of
final
anime?
era?
うるさい。どうしてお前らは俺を死なせてくれないんだ。始祖ユミルの出現から今日に至るまでどれほどの命が巨人に奪われたことでしょう。しかし近年その平和思想は淘汰され始祖の巨人はパラディ島に住むあるものに奪われました。その名はエレン・イエーガー。今ここに宣言します。パラディ島敵勢力へ宣戦布告を。